Dome theory, a little delayed because Nate wanted to have a feast. What do you eat,
Excuse me
Nate?
for making sure that I have proper nourishment in my body.
Three
What do
balanced
you eat?
meals.
Was it something good?
Yeah, I had a little bit of chicken, a little bit of fish, some broccoli, some potatoes. So, I mean, if it's that meal versus you guys, I'm sorry, you guys are gonna have to wait.
I understand, but I'm gonna be starving this whole show. Luckily, Lindo Taylor here holding it down. Gonna get all your thoughts on over-unders this year, and of course, we're gonna get them right for our official sponsor of CLNS Media, FanDuel. They have all of these over-unders heading into the season tomorrow, and we do have a season finally. NBA's back. Celtics start Wednesday. Lindo's Lakers tip it all off against the Nuggets on Tuesday, and then get a little Warriors Suns action. No Draymond Green, so I'm liking the Suns there, and that's all available over there at FanDuel.com/Boston. But we're gonna run through all these teams. We're gonna do it rapid fire. We're gonna see who we like, who we don't like, get it all on video so we can go back to it later in the year. Thanks again to Lindo and Nate who hosted last week, while I was enjoying Daniel Caesar, and welcome back, Taylor.
I can't believe you gave me the wrong script last week.
How did you need a script to say, "Hey, I'm Nate"?
I was reading off of it. I was trying to make sure that I got the name of the podcast correctly, and then it was like, "Hey, welcome to Dome Theory. My name is Bobby," and then I was like, "Oh shit!"
It
Like
said
he gave me the wrong
insert your
thing.
name, and he
Yeah,
said Bobby.
no, like Bobby sent me the script, and it was inserted already, so I just
Hey,
like I just didn't change it.
Did you correct yourself?
Yeah, I corrected myself.
Oh, you shouldn't have. You should have just said, "Hey, this is Bobby Manning," and just let it go.
This is Bobby Manning. I'm enjoying my time on South Beach, as you can see.
Well, Nate's got the beanie on anyway. He's ready for winter, and it's a good time of year. We got football hanging on. We got some baseball playoffs rolling along as we talk here, but I'm ready for basketball, and there are a lot of intriguing teams. The one I'm going to start it off with, I'm actually hot on, Lindo, here. We're going alphabetical order with the Atlanta Hawks.
You're hot on Lindo?
42 and a half.
What do you mean by that, Bobby?
42 and a half. They had a great playoff run against the Celtics. New coach Quinn Snyder. Team's mostly back. I mean, they dumped John Collins, which I don't think matters a ton. Some opportunity for other guys there. I like Jalen Johnson. They extended Onyeka Okongwu here today, and they're going to be shooting threes like crazy. The defense should be better. Unfortunately, it's one of those teams where they have the perfect supporting cast, and the star is the one where you're like, I don't know. So Young was awful at the start of that series. He was really good by the end of it. He's all over the place production-wise. The stats are great. The impacts, I'm still surprised you're not a fan of him, Nate, given his passing prowess and massive numbers. But I'm high on this team, and I'm going to go over on them. I think they can easily be well above 500. 42 is not a ton.
Okay, so it's funny that you say that because I am really not high on Trae Young at all. I think that they have a good team around them, but I think that Trae Young, first of all, he doesn't really play defense, and he can be hunted in a playoff series, right? Nonetheless, the regular season. On top of that, the way that he plays basketball, it kind of seems like selfish to me. Like he gets the assists, he gets the stats, but it seems like it's not his intention to make his team better. He's just doing it for the stats, if that makes sense. That being said, with a Trae Young led team, I'm not sure that a Trae Young led team could contend in the Eastern Conference for a championship or even in the Western Conference. So that being said, I might have to go on the under here because there have been a few years in the past where I thought that they would be better than what they ended up being, and I'm just not going to fall for it again.
This team isn't going to be 500.
Yes.
That'd be a really bad season if you're going under. Like it'd be talk of Young getting traded, I think, if they're under.
I mean, you hear all the time about how his teammates don't really seem to like playing with him. And John Collins, one of the reasons why they traded John Collins is because John Collins is one of the most vocal players about how he wants the ball to move around more, how he wants to touch the ball and things like that. So the chemistry just isn't there. In addition to that, like I said about Trae Young, like he seems to play for himself, not really for the team. And because of that, I have to go under here. I just feel like something is going to happen.
Fair enough. You're over, Linda?
Why does everyone hate Trae Young? Like, if he wasn't there, they'd be way better. If he wasn't there, they'd be tanking every year. It wouldn't. I mean, who
I'd
would
like
they?
to see
Who would
what
they
they'd
trade
look
for?
like
And they
with
would.
Murray running the show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we would
another
see it.
thing
It would
too.
just like Kyrie on the Cavs.
I mean, the other thing is that we don't really see Trae Young and Murray have a chemistry with each other at all either.
Right.
Like they don't really play well together. They both seem like ball dominant guards. The only difference is that DeJounte Murray actually plays defense. So if I had to lean a one way in terms of which player I'd rather have, I'd definitely say DeJounte Murray. So that being said, it's like Trae Young is trying to be the alpha. And he is right, he has the talent to do so, but he needs to adjust what he has up here for him to actually truly show himself as a true number one option and someone that you can win with as a number one option.
He could
Who
be a
made that?
Laker
Who
soon,
made that
Lindo.
30-foot shot versus the Celtics to steal a game? DeJounte Murray.
We're talking
No,
about
he
one
actually
shot. Are
got
you serious?
suspended.
Who beat the 76ers in the second round? Is that DeJounte Murray?
That was Ben Simmons, sir.
Would it have been DeJounte Murray leading that team?
That
through
was Ben
I don't
Simmons, sir.
think so. No, it's Ben Simmons. Okay.
Yeah, it's about
Ben
4
Simmons
versus
is always
Young.
the fault.
Well, duh.
No.
He gives them a good 4.
Trae
Stealing's
Young
not great with him.
is, and I'm not even a Trae Young guy because I hate shot jackers, but the idea that this guy is one of the main reasons for their failures, he's the only reason they have a potential of success.
You there too, Taylor?
That beloved bench that they got, what does that do? Lead them to losses. Did they win back-to-back games last year? I don't remember that.
And
That
you're still
was funny.
you're still taking the over?
Yes. They have Trae Young.
Dog.
42 is not a high number.
got-
Taylor,
You
rid
just
of
said they
dead weight.
didn't win back-to-back games and you're still taking the over at 42.
They got rid of deadweight John Collins making $80 million a year, stinking it up.
I'm going over too.
Taylor,
which
save
one do you
us.
got?
I'm over it. To go under, they would have to have a horrible season, and I think that, I don't, like Nate said it up top, like I don't think they'll contend for anything, but I think over 42.5, like they would have to be really bad to not.
I think that's actually an easy one. This one's a little tougher, and I'm glad we can get to them quickly. The Boston Celtics have a 54.5 over-under. That's going to be one of the highest ones. I don't like going over on the high ones because a lot can go wrong, and it's very easy to fall under. But this team wins a lot of games when it's resting guys, when guys are out. Their bench plays really well together. They almost beat the Bucks last year with no one playing, one of the games I remember most. And you got Porzingis, you got Holiday. This team looks like a monster already in the preseason. We'll see what happens come playoff time. But in a weaker East this year, I think they can get over 54.5 fairly easily here. Taylor, lead it off with you as the fellow Boston guy. And
I
the
have
hat
the-
on your head, too.
I have the over. They won 57 last year, right?
Yeah, and it was a shaky season.
Right. And so it's a very shaky second half. And so I think that while you lose Smart, you lose Rob, you lose Brogdon, lose Grant, I think this season has the potential to be a lot more steady than seasons we've seen in the past. And obviously you need both Jays to keep getting better. They've taken a leap every season. Both of them have. And so I don't know if there's another necessarily like a leap there, but you need them to keep getting better. And it just needs to be more steady and I think that you're going to get that from a supporting cast this year that isn't so volatile. Like Marcus Smart, we know, like Lindo loves to point it out, where it's like in the biggest moment in a playoff game, like he could be 0 for 8, and then in the biggest moment of a playoff game, he's going to hit like 2 threes in a row. And it's just going to drive opposing fans crazy. But I don't think, I think that this year adding Porzingis and especially adding Drew Holiday and also kind of giving more responsibility to Derek White, I think it'll be more steady this year. I don't know if we'll have the ups and downs. So I have the over.
Lindo, you like them? All right, go ahead, Nate.
My biggest knock on the team was that you guys didn't have a point guard. You solved that with Drew Holiday. I think that this is one of the more fascinating teams because they do, on paper, they do have a chance to be one of the best teams in the regular season, but I do see a lot of potential for it to go wrong as well. For example, injuries. Porzingis isn't someone who is notoriously unhealthy at times. Additionally, Al Horford is getting older. So there is potential for it to go wrong. But that being said, if we're just taking it as is, additionally, there's only one ball, but Drew Holiday solves that because Drew Holiday is someone who I trust to be a point guard for the team. So I think that's a really big ask. Well, not a really big ask, but a really big plug to fill up the hole. I also think that I still think the Jays are kind of redundant though, and I do want to see how the chemistry with them continues to evolve, especially with Jaylen Brown being the highest paid player in the league now. So I do see how it could potentially go wrong, but at the same time, I'd be stupid to not take the over, because just look at what they have on paper, understanding what they've done over the past 4 years. I have to take the over here.
Yeah, even if someone goes down, Lindo, I think they can still win a lot of games. Like, say it's Porzingis, Horford will play center, and he's been doing that for years now.
Nate, with that price tag, are you saying if they lose a game, Jason's going to be in the presser saying, "Yeah, you know, when you pay guys $300 million, you just expect them to perform." I don't know.
You expect them to have a left hand, I'll tell you that.
That is such an overrated joke. It's over. No one,
I've never seen a more overplayed joke in the league.
We got to move on. But I do think it's interesting. I mean, what do you do at the big position? You have Porzingis, and like Nate said, last season he played some games, but before that, we had injuries. We had a lot of games being missed every season. You lost Grant. You lost Rob. You lost Wenyen Gabriel, put his jersey up in the rafters.
Neemias Queta, though, a lot of preseason hype with him.
Say that again?
Neemias Queta, big preseason.
Sure, but preseason is preseason, and regular season is regular season.
Zay, stop lying. You don't know who that is.
We know how two guys. Bobby posts about him all the time. So that's how I know. I get my news from Bob. People go to Fox, they go to CNN, they go to MSNBC. I go to Bobby.
People say that to me all the time.
Yeah, they come up on the street and say, "Aren't you the guy from CLNS Media?" My parents watch you all the time. No, so I don't know with that depth what's going on. Drew is definitely an upgrade on Marcus Smart, which you take Drew every single time over Marcus Smart. Have fun in Memphis. He'll be whooping that trick enough for them while Steven Adams is out. So I think 54, they're going to be over that.
All right, we got the Nets. Man, could this be ugly, because after they traded Durant, after they traded Irving last year, their offense went into the tank. You got Bridges, you got Finney-Smith back, you got a decent mix of players here, and it was a team, Lindo, last year that I looked at and was like, this could get interesting. Lots of defenders. You got a defensive coach here. Maybe Simmons rejuvenates a little bit. That's what you're betting on here. It's 37.5. If Simmons is anywhere close to his old self, you could scratch out 500 play here, but I'm not counting on it. Someone's got to lose games. And the way their roster looks right now, I love Bridges. I love a lot of the pieces they have here. Dennis Smith Jr. was quietly one of the better defenders in the league last year. Harry Giles looks a little rejuvenated. They got him on a flyer. A lot of good flyers on this team, but they might be one of the worst offenses in the NBA when it's all said and done. And that's a formula for going under 37.5. I think they might miss the playoffs.
One of the funniest things about you is you are the biggest Ben Simmons hater I've ever seen in my life. And at every turn, you always say, but if he gets it together, well, he's going to be scary. This team's going to be scary. Every time.
This is his last chance. If he stinks again this year, he's out of the league. Well, I thought they'd dump him, but he was actually hurt. He went into pretty big depth about the surgery and what was going wrong with him. So, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt again. This is his last chance.
And then next year when he gets re-signed, you'll say, this is it.
No, they'll have 1 year left and they'll waive him.
Okay, well, we'll see.
You going over under?
Under. These guys aren't winning any games. They will be looking to the draft. I don't know if Connor Flagg is going to just go
Cooper Flagg.
Ignite Cooper Flagg. See, I don't even know. It's just whatever white guy they put out there.
I also think he's 2 drafts from now.
I don't know if he's going to Ignite, but that's probably what they're looking to, because they don't have anything going this way.
Well, you know what they also don't have? A pick, because of the Harden trade.
James Harden, he just ruined everything, didn't he, Nate? He just, wherever he goes, whatever was going on, it's just ruined. Doesn't he just do that everywhere?
Nate, we'll get to him. Over under.
What was the over under again?
37.5. They might have $5 tickets for you, by the way. You'll be very excited about that.
They won't. Anyway, I like Mikal Bridges. I'm interested to see if he's able to take the next step into an ascending superstar. I really liked what I saw from him last season when he was traded to the Brooklyn Nets. It seemed like he could be. I didn't realize how good of a scorer he was until he got to Brooklyn. If Ben Simmons is able to be rejuvenated, and I am being serious, not like Bobby. They also have Nicholas Claxton. They have the chance to be one of the best defenses in the league. That being said, like Bobby said, I don't really know, besides Bridges, and maybe they give Cam Thomas more minutes, I don't really know where the scoring's coming from. But that being said, I do trust Jack Vaughn, and I do think that he was one of the best coaches in the league last year. So I'll take the over, but barely, like 38 wins.
I've got a
Taylor?
question for you, Nate.
Go ahead.
You are the guy who says all the time that these guys have empty buckets. They got Mikal Bridges and then lost a billion games when he put up 30. Are those not empty buckets?
He shot well though. I'll give it to him.
He
That's what an
played
empty bucket
efficiently.
is. It was a bucket.
Yeah.
No, we have to re-get you into the empty bucket university so you can study empty
you got
buckets.
him. You got him.
Dropped out of empty bucket.
I'll mark
University.
that down. That's one for
Taylor,
Lindo.
you over under on them?
I want to go over, but first of all, watching Ben Simmons early in his career, like he was an actual problem, like on the court, and then he became a problem in so many other ways just because he was never on the court. There's part of me that wants to believe how good he looked in preseason. There's part of me that wants to believe he's healthy. I'm going to go the under just because I'm not going to gamble on Ben Simmons here. But, like, it wouldn't surprise me if he is the Ben Simmons that he used to be. It wouldn't surprise me if they go over. But I'm not putting my pick on him, so I'm going under.
Let's blow through this team. Taylor, we'll start with you. Hornets, 31.5. It's a low number. Man, did they – I know you watched the preseason game, Taylor, against the Celtics. Man, did they look bad. And Bridges went to jail again. Who knows what's going to happen with him? Ty Jones got cut.
Yeah,
it's ugly.
Can we say it together? Like in unison? Okay. 1, 2,
Michael
3.
Jordan's the worst
Under.
Under. There you go. All right, we'll move on. Your team, Nate, we'll let you start with them. The Bulls. They are 37.5, which is a high number, but their roster is very average. And I don't say that in a bad way. It's like, it's a good number of pieces to go 500 if everyone's healthy and available. There's no ceiling. There's no path to tanking. They're just stuck in the middle. So they could be like a 41-41 team if they don't blow it up, which I'm sure you do want them to do.
What do you mean
Did you
there's
say
no
if the
path?
Bulls are healthy?
What do you mean there's no path to tanking?
Oh, yeah,
Trade
they won't be,
DeRozan,
but-
trade Levine, and get all the picks you possibly can. Simple.
Well, they could have done that last year, but they didn't.
They should have done it last year when DeRozan was named an All-Star. Like, sell him when he's high. I have no hope for this team. I'm going to be honest. Like, Zach LaVine is cool. He could score, but what else does he really do? DeRozan, he's fine. Vucevic, I feel like, is underrated on that team and should touch the ball more. Patrick Williams hasn't developed the way that we want him to. Lonzo Ball doesn't seem like he's gonna play this year.
Caruso's
Kobe
really
White,
good.
I do like Caruso. Kobe White apparently has made a jump in preseason, but I don't watch preseason games because that's fake sports, so I don't really know. That being said, trade DeRozan, trade Levine, maybe if you can trade Vucevic, taking the under.
Lindo.
Why did you say if they're healthy? You can't assume health on this team. They won't be.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, like he said, is Lonzo going to play this year? Is he just going to?
No, he's out for the year.
Yeah, he'll just sit there and make his money. I would too. He'll just do standoff competitions against Stephen A. Caruso, you didn't list that name, Nate. You got to send him back to the Lakers.
He's really good.
We'll get you a 2037 pick. Don't even trip.
I feel like there's a little buzz too. Levine might be the Harden solution. Would you want Harden on this team, Nate? Could he unlock a little something?
There's nothing there.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Taylor, you over under?
Under. I don't think this team will look anything like it does by the end of the year.
That's a good bet. Yeah, and someone's going to be under, right? We're going to list a lot of overs here. I think I'll join you guys. But 37's not a high bar. They could sneak 500. How much did they have last year? Let me see real quick. They had 40. So even last year where they kind of stunk, they reached 40. But we will move on to the Cavs, who I think Jared Allen's a little banged up, but he should be fine to start the year. Their number's 50.5. Mitchell, a little determined. This is the number one defense a year ago. I hope Mobley takes a step. I was actually a little disappointed with him last year offensively, but defensively he was a DPOY candidate. You got a lot of wings coming in here, and guys I like, and Max Strus. You brought in Ty Jerome, who I think is a little bit underrated. We remember him from the Q's days.
We do.
Who else? Virginia Star. Oh well.
Cricket.
Only
Who else
cricket.
they get? Who else they get on the wing? They got another wing, Taylor, right?
They got Georges Niang.
Yeah, Niang's a good shooter. I'll start with you, Taylor, on them. What are you thinking about the Cavs? I thought they were a finals threat last year, and they really sputtered out round one.
Can you repeat the number? I was just listening to you do the roster.
50 and a half.
I'm gonna go under. I think this team might dip a little from where they were last year. I like the additions, but I also think the additions have the potential to be very underwhelming. And it's probably because I don't like Strus and I don't like Niang.
They had 51 last year, and they were very good.
Also, this is the last year of Mitchell's contract, right?
Yeah, so it's going to get a little noisy.
It's become very clear that he's not going to sign.
Oh, no, he's got 2 years left, but he's got to sign an extension next summer, or else they'll probably trade him.
Okay, but weren't there reports that he just – see, my biggest concern is that there will be a cloud that Mitchell doesn't want to be there anymore, whether it's in the middle of this season or moving forward, and that he wants to be in Miami or New York like we all thought was going to happen. So I'm going to go 50 and a half is a lot of wins. So I'm going to go under here. It wouldn't surprise me if they go over, but I could see this not going as well as it did last year. Last year when it was new, when it was like all these guys kind of playing that underdog role and really like getting after it. I wonder how that translates to this year when there's real expectation and you didn't really add anything. You added some nice pieces, but nothing that I would say makes a huge impact.
Don't have Lamar Stevens. Nate, are you going over or under here?
You said it was 50?
50 and a half, so they got to get to 51.
I'll go under, but I do think that last year they had the talent to be a championship contender, but they didn't have the experience to be. And I think that last year, I forgot who they lost to, but whoever they lost to last year, that playoff series was a learning experience for them. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them go deep into the playoffs, but I think that 50 wins might be a little bit too much for them.
50's high. I think they can do it. Defense is great here, Lindo. Like, they were legit the number one defense last year.
They're not going to miss Robin Lopez. They added superstar from the Heat, Max Strus. And they're running back a great team. I mean, and we're not even mentioning Instagram and YouTube's
really
compilation sensation, Imani Bates.
Imani Bates, lighting it up preseason.
I'm sticking with them. I think that this is a serious team. They added some decent additions. And who'd they lose? Neto and Robin Lopez and Ricky Rubio? Is he
Lamar Stevens? He was a hustler for them.
So
didn't they have Rondo? Or am I making that up?
That was 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm giving the over here. Cavs are great. They played a tough Knicks team, the best Knicks team we've seen in a long time. And that was just a tough matchup, and the Knicks pulled away. And if the Knicks could have shot over 30% and they beat the Heat, we wouldn't even question. We would have said that's a serious team. But because they didn't, we don't and say what a disaster first round exit. But this team played great, and they'll play great again. The Donovan Mitchell thing is scary because he will be going to the Knicks in 2 years, but that's 2 years away. So
could be
this
a year
year,
from now.
He's going to be exactly who he was last year, a superstar, and just hopes he gets it together in the playoffs.
My only worry about them is the playoffs because it got a little stale there. And JB Bickerstaff, we'll see what he's made of this year. You better figure it out because, again, they're on the clock with Mitchell. If they go down round one again, it's not going to be pretty. But they got a legit big three. Mobley, man, though, find your offense. Like, he really struggled on that end. I want to hear about Tim Duncan if he's a zero on offense. But
yeah, he needs at least 12 like Tim Duncan.
Let's go to
16, I'm sorry.
Dallas. Luka's hurt already.
Wait, are you serious?
Yep, calf strain.
How long?
Opening night's questionable.
Oh my goodness.
And they spent a lot of time overseas in Abu Dhabi and Madrid and had the longest preseason travel schedule ever, people are saying. And their number is 43.5. It's a low number if Luka's an MVP level. And, of course, FanDuel, again, they didn't put him number 1, but number 2 favorite in MVP is Doncic, who isn't going to win. I think we can all agree on that right now. It's Doncic, it's Kyrie, who is saying he's loving the situation here and he wish he was always on this team and doing what Kyrie always does before a season. Didn't seem like he was thrilled about coming back, but signed the big contract. I'm sure they weren't thrilled about giving it to him. And their front court is what? Josh Green, Grant Williams, who I love, but as a starter, Derek Lively, rookie. I like them, but it's tough for me to, again, as Taylor said, put my money on them. They can be really underwhelming. The coach, I think, is shaky. It's a tough conference. I'm going under. I am.
Why
I
is
like
this the one
team
that you
here
struggle with the most?
because I like the team.
Like, this one is so easy.
I like the team. I like Luka a lot. And if Luka's taking another step here, they're going to be a monster as they usually are. But last year was terrible. The way they tanked 10 years was a disgrace. They got a jumbled roster here. If I'm betting one way or the other, I got to lean under.
The reason why it's a big number, Nate, is because last year 43 wins was the Lakers, 43 wins. And so that's 7 seed. So under that means you're saying they're going to miss not 8 seed. I'm sorry, they were 9 seed. That means they're going to no. Did the Lakers finish just above?
Yeah.
Whatever. Around 40
Lindo,
wins.
certified Lakers fan.
Oh,
last year the Mavs
40,
had 38.
Around 40 wins mean you missed the playoffs. So saying under is they're not making the playoffs. They're not a top 10 team in the West.
Someone's going to miss it out there. And I'm not going to pick Memphis to miss it, just to prove
Kenyon Martin said that Kyrie is the best player on the team. So if he's out there.
So you're going over?
No, I'm going under. What the fuck? That team sucks. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Jason Kidd's going to have to spill some ice on the floor.
What's the number?
43.
Under, for sure. I mean, can any of us point to a specific situation last season when you saw Kyrie and Luka being able to work well together on the court?
Yeah.
No.
Taylor?
Yeah, that one nice little buzzer beater there.
So we're basing this off of a buzzer beater. Okay. Yeah, Grant Williams as a starter would be interesting. I don't even know who their starting center is. Kyrie and Luka can be hunted by opposing offensive players like literally every single night. Under.
Defense in the regular season is overrated.
It's going to be close, but 500
they're going to have to play some.
Under.
Before the trade, they were serious. They were a real team. So it can't be now that the defense is just a disaster.
The trade was a bad trade.
And then, sure. But I'm saying to say that the defense is just going to totally collapse. They were a good defense before that. And then Luka was hurt, and then Kyrie was hurt, and then whatever else. The rest of the nonsense. But I'm taking the under. I don't think that they're a good team. But that's all to say that defense in the regular season, if you have a serious offense in the regular season, it's whatever. No one expects them, if they make the playoffs, to do anything in the playoffs. So that's different. But in the regular season,
I disagree.
30 a night
That's
from
a
Luka
story.
plus whatever from Kyrie.
I just don't see Luka and Kyrie, especially with Luka being as ball dominant as he is. I just don't see, and Kyrie really doesn't give you anything unless he has the ball in his hands either. So like I just don't see them working well together at all.
10 assists a game. Those assists will go to Kyrie.
Especially since Kyrie is the best player on the team. Like
he is.
Is Luka going to be able to take the step back? Like I don't really know about that. So
Taylor,
I think first of all, I'm going under. I think Kyrie has a good season. I think this is the year that Luka gets put under the microscope.
Yeah,
because you can't. Since his second year in the league, you can't have this expectation that you're an MVP. You're just a penciled-in MVP candidate, and people are always, picking Luka over these much more successful players, right? Like when you look at rankings or when people are ranking their top fives in the league or whatever, like he's always getting put ahead of all these people, and it's deserved just based on talent. But I think that unless they have a great season, I think two things. I think Luka gets put under the microscope. And I think Jason Kidd, deservedly so, gets put under the microscope. But I think this is the year that some stuff might really turn on Luka, which it does to pretty much every star player of his caliber. You know what I mean? Where they
Yeah,
have
he's next up, right?
That's what everyone's kind of anointing him like the next. In again, I don't want to act like he's not as good as people say he is, because he is. He's just as good as people say he is. But it has to start matching up with what his team is doing at some point. And it's not to say he can do everything himself, and it's not to say that their roster is built for him to carry it anywhere. But there is a part of it where it's like, hey, if people want to start talking about you as like a shoe-in MVP candidate, just it's a given that this guy is, one of the 3 or 4 best players in the league year in and year out. Things have to start changing. And I think this has the chance to become like a real disaster.
I'll never forget when someone tried to tell me before the MVPs and the championship that Luka Doncic was better than Nikola Jokic. I'll never forget that shit.
Jokic's the favorite right now. Doncic second, Giannis third, Tatum fourth, Embiid fifth, Curry sixth in MVP on FanDuel.
I think that Luka absolutely deserves a lot of criticism now, but it can't be ignored. I mean, what did we just do? We don't know who's the center for the Mavs. Nate was saying I don't even know who that is. So
I like him. He's a rookie,
though. The
though.
team is a disaster. Luka has to do something with this team, and Bobby said the coach has to. We don't know about him. That's a difficult situation for him to this season really put it together.
All right,
they're
Nate,
going to lose, but
lead us off with your champs. 52.5 for the Nuggets.
Over. It's Nikola Jokic, the best player in the league. Like, that's it. Simple. And Jamal Murray might take another step and end up being a top 5 scorer in the league. Like, it's very possible. Over. Simple.
Taylor?
Yeah, I'll go over. I mean, I don't have any reason to go under. You know what I mean? I think, like, losing Bruce Brown hurts. I don't love that for them, but it's not something that will really sway my feeling about them as an organization or a team. And I like what Nate said. I think that this will be a great year for Jamal Murray to just have maybe not a normal offseason because they, played longer than anyone else. You have a championship run, so you're playing into June, but I think it'll be good for him to not be coming off an injury. And I'm excited to see what Jamal can do this season. So I'm going over.
Linda?
Over, but that first loss is coming against the Lakers.
West is tougher. That could bring them down a little bit. I don't know how many they had last year. It was, let's see, probably right around there. 53. So right on the mark. They actually would have been under last year. So it's a tough one. Oh, actually, no, just over 52.5. But I think they get there. I hate them losing Brown too, but Christian Brown, the rookies they have are apparently good. And like you said, Nate, it's Jokic. This one's interesting. This was probably one of the tougher ones. Warriors, 47.5. Draymond missed training camp, which isn't great. Chris Paul, you guys know I'm a fan. I just don't love the fit. I think he's a pick and roll player. He's not really the movement handoff kind of guy that they play with there. And they shouldn't take the ball away from Curry to put it in Paul's hands. But he is usually a guy who makes teammates better. And the bench really stinks. Kuminga's got to come around. Moody's got to play consistent minutes. Looney's great, but he's not Draymond if he's going to miss some time here. The defense struggled last year, and if Curry misses significant time at all, look out. Who is their pick now? The Trailblazers because of that Holiday trade. So I'm leaning under here, 47.5. It's a number they can reach, but a lot has to go right. I thought they should have traded Paul for Drew Holiday, but they really didn't seem to look into it. And the carryover of that awful Draymond Green, Jordan Poole incident continues, Lindo.
I think if you needed to match the money on Poole, it was going to be tough. But I don't think that they would have traded for Chris Paul if they thought it just wasn't going to work at all. Because they're paying Steph Curry real money. They're paying Steph Curry real money. So for them to just decide, we're just going to do whatever, I don't know that they would have done that. So I think that it's not going to be great because the team's not great, but it's not going to be bad either. So 47, I could see it about 47, but under.
Nate, you hate this team.
I'm going under. I just don't understand what Chris Paul gives the team that Draymond already doesn't give the team. And additionally, if he's going to start, that means you're going to start Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green. I love Draymond Green. He's not the Draymond Green that he used to be. that is a significant disadvantage, especially when you're going up against the Nikola Jokic's, Joel Embiid's, Giannis Antetokounmpo's, like the superstar centers in the league. And also, I think that Kevin Looney is, people who know basketball will say that Kevin Looney is one of the most important players on the team. So just put him on. So to just put him on the bench so that you can make room for Chris Paul, who is ultimately redundant because you already have Draymond Green, just doesn't make sense to me. That being said, I do kind of see a situation where it could work. Maybe they stagger Paul and Green's minutes, and Looney gets starters minutes off the bench. But even then, you do need Moody to step up. You need Kuminga to step up. Steph is going to be Steph. Klay Thompson's kind of iffy. I do have faith in Andrew Wiggins, to continue being the great defender that he has been, and the solid scorer that he's been as well. But that being said, I still have to go under just because I just don't really see what they added in the offseason that makes them better.
Taylor?
Looney is just Andre Drummond, man. I don't believe that at all.
I don't know. There's part of me that never wants to pick against Golden State because it's just, we have a decade now of like, why would you?
They're old, man.
Yeah, Steph's gonna be Steph, but Steph is turning 36 this year.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, either 35 or 36. I'm pretty sure he turned 35 last year, though, so I'm pretty sure it's 36. Klay, you're already hearing some rumblings about he's not going to get a contract. He's going to go to free agency. Yeah, I think Draymond's an incredibly important player, but, he's already out for opening night, which, it is what it is. Like, I'm not, putting a ton of stock into that over the 82-game season. But I think that none of their young guys have progressed the way they were supposed to, really, except Poole. And then you had the stuff that happened at the beginning of last season where I understand why they had to get rid of him. So while, everything is like, don't pick against the Warriors. Like, why would you do that? It's like, it's one of those situations where it feels so plain to see that they're going to go under that I'm going to pick under because that's like what everything points to. But if they just do what the Warriors do, it's like I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by that.
I like this team here, so this number feels low. I'm going to keep it quick on them because I do want to hear your guys' thoughts here. The Rockets are 31.5. I love Ime. I don't love the players on this team. Dylan Brooks had a big summer, but there's questions there.
Did we skip Detroit?
Yeah, we'll skip Detroit. That's fine.
What's funny is before they said to me,
Wait, isn't Detroit one of your favorite teams, Bobby?
Yeah, that's why I don't want to.
And we just skipped them, and that's why you don't want to talk about it. Okay, yeah. Bobby has bias, guys. Just letting you guys know.
We'll skip Detroit. Detroit's number, by the way, 28.5.
Can we just say it in unison? 1, 2, 3. Under.
Over.
Oh my God.
That's
Cade's
a low
coming
number.
back, man. Yeah, don't doubt Cade.
Man.
Let's focus on the Rockets, though, because they're a little more interesting. It's a new coach. It's a coach that's had success. It's a roster that has a lot of bona fide guys. Şengün has some hype. I think if I'm picking most improved player, it's not a popular pick, but I like Jabari Smith Jr. for it. I think he's really going to have a sophomore jump this year after a shaky rookie year. So that's where I'm at with these guys. I haven't liked this team historically, but I'm sensing a little bit of a leap for them. Jalen Green's the real one, though, that's got to do something, Taylor.
What's the number?
31.5.
31.5. Man. I might go under just on principle. Like, they've been so bad, it's kind of like you need to show that you can go over before I'm going to pick you to go over. Like, I think they made some nice additions. Ime's a great coach, as we know. Like, I think that adding, even though it's like the most hated guy in the NBA, I think adding Dylan Brooks is like a good move.
Fred VanVleet too.
It's a good, yeah, man. I'm still gonna go under on principle, but like it's kind of more like they've just been so bad it feels like the culture there has been so bad for the past couple of years that it's like you have to like prove it's gonna work before we just go say like, oh yeah, the pieces are there now. It's like, well, you still like have that like residue from the past couple of years there. So I'm going under.
Nate,
Taylor,
go ahead, Wanda.
Taylor, last year there were 22 wins. They made some adjustments. They dropped Kevin Porter.
They were a
They added
disgrace
Van
last year.
Vliet. They added Brooks, and they have a new coach. How many wins would you say that they're up to from 22 last year?
It probably like
Because if 31 is too high,
31 and a half. So I'm like 30, 31. It's right there. It's in my thing with this is it's more like you just have to prove that you can do it before I'm gonna pick over, because like all this sounds great, right? But like Fred VanVleet is what, 31? Like he's like the guy now, and he's been the guy in Toronto, but Siakam's been there. Like there's this potential for this to not go well at all. Like I think it could go well, and maybe they go over, but it's more like let's see it before I say they're going to win more than 31 and a half games.
Lindo, which way are you going?
under. This team sucks. Man. I'm
Nate?
like the biggest Fred VanVleet hater ever. No.
I know Nate doesn't like this.
Before I get to it, quick Game 7 update. Texas Rangers up 1-0 in the top of the first inning. That being said,
Obviously, you're about to lose too. So
that being said, you paid Dylan Brooks all that money. Like you already know what's going on here. Like the only player on the team that I actually enjoy
He's a bronze
watching,
medalist, Nate.
The only one, didn't he get ejected from one of the games?
Yeah.
How did he get
Luka.
ejected from international play? Like that doesn't make sense to me. But
Then he
regardless,
was
the only player on the team that I have somewhat of a fandom for is Alperen Şengün. Everybody else I don't really care about. That being said, Rockets under.
All right, I'm on the over here.
On to Game 7.
Another team I like for the over here, Indiana. Not a hyped up team, but Tyrese Haliburton, man. That's probably my favorite young player in the league. Amazing facilitator. They have a lot of good pieces to work with here. Obi Toppin comes over from New York, who I'm high on. Jarris Walker is a legit 4 who comes over. They extended our guy Neesmith today, Taylor. So a big show of confidence in him. I like this team. I think they're going to be amazing offensively. I don't know how much they'll defend, but their coach is low-key pretty good in Rick Carlisle. I'm actually picking him for Coach of the Year. It'll be close with Daignault, I think. But I'm high on them. They were top 6 before they started tanking last year, and Haliburton got hurt. If he's healthy, I think they're over this number of 40. No, not even 39.5. I think they hit over easily on that.
Yeah, I have them over. Like without much thought, I have them over there. I mean, I really I believe in Tyrese Haliburton.
They give the Celtics a problem every time.
Yeah, I believe in Haliburton a lot. Like I think that he is the engine there, and I just trust him. I don't know the plays that he makes, the way he plays. I just trust that like people will follow him. In
Miles Turner's pretty good too.
Agreed.
Nate.
What was the number again? 39. You said 38.
39.5.
39.5. I'll take the over. I really like Tyrese Haliburton. I was really impressed by him last season. I think Miles Turner. I don't think he said he's a top 5 center in the league. I don't know about all that, but he is a top 10. Like he is a top 10 center in the league. I really like his defense. I just like the players around him. I believe in Tyrese Haliburton. I'm not really a fan of Rick Carlisle as much, but either way, as long as Tyrese Haliburton can stay healthy, I can see them taking it over.
Lindo.
My only real thought is over. But in saying that, if they can't go over with this guy Haliburton that you think is like the greatest player in the league, there should be some questions.
Next up, I'll let you lead off with this team, Lindo, because I know you'll love to talk about them. The Clippers are 45.5.
That's total games Paul George and Kawhi played.
Combined?
Yeah.
So you're going under?
No. I mean, they missed games last year and they were at 44. So I guess they can do 45. You know what's really interesting? If they make one more addition to this team right before the season, the time is ticking. I don't know. I don't know that he's going to go. I don't think he will, since they didn't accept Terrence Mann and a first. So I don't think that's happening. But as it stands, 45, I'll do over, because eventually Paul George and Kawhi got to play, right? And now with the load management rules, they can't just sit them out either. So, but they get actually injured, so maybe, who knows? They're going to be over, but if the question was what will they do in the playoffs, that answer would be nothing. But they'll be over 45.
Nate?
Over for sure. I mean, they are still one of the deepest teams in the league. If Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are able to maintain their health throughout the season and into the
No.
playoffs, they are a
No.
potential championship. They are a potential championship team.
They are
Russell Westbrook also being added to the
Oh, here's a
team
Westbrook mention.
and being able to. Okay, Russell Westbrook being added to the team. You saw what he did in the playoffs last season.
Didn't they
Him
lose
being
4-1?
able to be the vocal, him being able to be the vocal leader of the team and being able to be the dog of the team and set the tone for the team is very important. I think that's something that they were missing, especially understanding that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, especially Kawhi Leonard, are two guys that don't really like to. They kind of like to keep to themselves. So Russell Westbrook being in there for the sake of culture as. In addition to what he does on the court is really important for them. So obviously over.
Taylor.
It's a very begrudging over. Like, I don't want to say over, but
It's a low number, especially.
It is low. And those, like, Lindo's right. They don't play games. I mean, and now that Podcast P has his post-career, lane set up, who knows? Who knows what'll happen over there? But they're supremely talented basketball team. Right, but they have their two best players who they just don't play, and so it's begrudging because if those two go out and play 70 games apiece, 75 games apiece, yeah, they'll be incredible, but that is that going to happen? Like, probably not.
Yeah,
it can't be a low number if they won 44 last year.
Right,
they just won 44.
Yeah, and I just can't. If they're healthy, they're gonna blow by
They're
that.
not. You can't say. What I was trying to say when Nate was going is they're the potential champions every year. Every year they're if these guys are healthy,
older now.
and then they're not.
I mean,
if they get Harden, I don't know how it works.
They've never been in a situation where they've had consistent health and lost. It's always been health, so that's why they're always consistent. Championship contenders.
That doesn't get better as
lost
they get
in the bubble.
No, agreed. But what I'm saying is that it's not like they've been exposed. Like, oh, we thought that they were going to be a great team, and then look at this team completely dismantle them. That's never happened. It's always been
That happened in the bubble.
Luka did that. They got 3-1.
Okay, one time in the bubble.
42 the year before.
Anyway, in other news, we are three runs. Good guys. 3 runs. Wow. Texas Rangers. Good guys. The people who don't cheat.
I'm going to go under. I don't like the Harden fit if it happens. Too much uncertainty.
You're going under off of an if that doesn't even seem to be happening? Okay.
No, I mean, if they don't have them, then I'm worried about their depth and their ability to sustain injuries here.
They're literally one of the most deep teams in the league. What are you talking about?
How do you worry about their depth without Harden, but you don't if he's there?
If he is there, I don't like the mix. Like, how are they going to use Russ at that point? Will Harden ever play off the ball? It's 4 guys who need the ball. I just think there's too much going wrong here. Plus,
you're acting like we
needs a
didn't
contract.
see Russ and Harden have a somewhat successful season in Houston.
A long time ago now, and it's somewhat is the key word there.
Anyway.
I'm going to go under.
A long time ago. What was that, 2019?
He's just acting like it just completely did not happen at all. Like we just never seen these two players ever paired together at all. Like, how could it work?
Yeah,
but we've seen it twice in OKC too.
Harden was a much better player back then,
That's kind of a bad example because that they tried that experimental small ball with Covington and it just failed. So that's not really it didn't look great, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. All the concerns you guys listed, I'm buying into them. I think things could go wrong here pretty quickly. But you're right. If they're healthy, if they're full, if Harden's addition works, they'll blow by this number. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk here. Lakers, my Lakers, baby. 46.5.
Said that on a Boston podcast, by the way.
I love this team. Reeves off the USA trip.
Oh my God.
So many options at point guard. LeBron and Davis, when they were healthy last year late, even when they weren't, because LeBron was pretty banged up going into the playoffs, they rolled. And I'm
going to watch baseball.
They gave the Nuggets a tough time. I know, Lindo, this is music to your ears.
Not really.
I love this team. Confident coach in the year 2.
Taylor can't even look at you. You haven't been this positive on any team so far, and we talked about the Celtics.
I saw your light up.
That's big facts.
When you read that Los Angeles Lakers, you're like, wow.
I love this team, and I want to see Celtics-Lakers finals because I do think the Celtics can beat them. But
you're going to be rooting for the Lakers.
As long as they're in the West, I'll be rooting for them. 46.5, I'm going over, Lindo.
If I'm gonna be fair, I just talked about the health of the Clippers. I got to do the same thing for the Lakers. Now we don't know the depth to LeBron's injuries because we never know if he invented load management. Pause. So we don't know if he's doing that on purpose or not. But now that it's gone, he'll probably play more games. But Anthony Davis, we know his injuries, and he's always hurt. He said he wants to play 82 this year. Let's get to 60. You know what I mean? Let's hit that. But in terms of 46, they'll be over. Starting five, you asked earlier, is probably going to be something like D'Lo, Reeves, either Taurean Prince or Rui, Bron, AD. It'll look something like that. Although I know that they added Jackson Hayes, so we'll see how he gets at the 5. I know that they want AD playing 5 this year, but 46, that's easy. They were at 43 last year, and terrible the first half. So 46 is easy.
Christian Javier is out of the game for the Astros.
Top 4 this year, that'll be a regular season, not playoffs. That'll be a regular season failure.
Okay. What was the number? 46?
46.
Anthony Davis is playing 5. Like that's what he's supposed to do this season?
Yes.
Under. He's not staying healthy.
40? Wow. That'd be a bad
If he was
season
playing
for them.
4, he wouldn't stay healthy. I don't even know what that means.
He's more likely to stay healthy at 4 than he is at 5.
They only need a couple more wins on last year.
He has come out and said that he doesn't want to play the 5, and they still force him to play 5 every single season. I feel so bad for him. But that being said,
he's an incredible 5.
He is. But that being said, he's also fragile. You got to wrap him in bubble wrap on the bus. He
won't not be fragile at the 4.
Yeah, I'm saying he's going to be more fragile. It's the difference between.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's the difference between having a vase or a vase on a table, and that's like the vase on the table is Anthony Davis at the 4. The vase halfway on the table is Anthony Davis at the 5. That's what it is.
I get it. Yeah, he's got to bang with the Nurkic's and Jokic's of the world. Taylor, where are you?
Nate's over here saying vase instead of vase. Look at this guy.
You don't see my background? I'm like, come on. I have to elevate the pronunciation of things.
This is another same thing as the Clippers. It's a begrudging over. It's totally dependent on health. So, like we know who the Lakers are. We know what their potential is so high, but their floor is also so low. And it's because of injuries. It's not like, they're gonna go out there and get rolled with all their players, but who knows if they're gonna have all their players. So it's a crapshoot. So begrudgingly over.
This is a fun one here. Not really though, because some bummer news this week.
Yeah. What is going on?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it fun or not, Bobby?
Really though.
It could have been, but I do hate that the Grizzlies are going to be without Steven Adams here for the year, which stinks big time. He was a big part of their identity. Brandon Clark's probably going to miss all of this year as well with the Achilles tear. And Ja Morant, who the hell knows? So he's out for 25.
He's out for 25 games. We know.
Beyond that.
He's saying, will he have a gun for the last 57?
46.5 is their number. Their coach is great. They have a lot of flexibility. I love Marcus Smart here. I do. I think he's going to hold it down while he's out and keep them competitive. And there's just a lot of unsung guys on this roster. Zaire Williams, I think, will surprise some people. Santi Aldama's done a great job in different spots. Their center, Xavier Tillman, who will have to step in with Adams out, is really good. You got all kinds of different guys here. And Desmond Bane's
not
really
even
good
naming Jaren Jackson.
Well, he's a given, DPOY and shaky World Cup. I don't know how that carries over. 46.5 is a little high, though, in a tough conference. I think they'll fall just short of this with all these Ja games lost, and who knows where he'll be at when he gets back. It's just a lot of uncertainty for me here, especially with Smart coming over and how he'll adjust to things. And if they're like 45, 46, they'll be under this number and still in decent shape to make the playoffs and be in the mix once they get there. But I don't know. It's just a little too much uncertainty for me to say over.
I'm taking it under here. I mean, we saw it was a night and day difference between when they had Brandon Clark and Steven Adams and when they didn't. And when they didn't, it was clear that they lacked the size to guard or neutralize the Jokic's or the Anthony Davises or the whatever big man they
Jackson
were playing up
fouls so
against.
much.
Yeah, and if Jaren Jackson Jr. can play without fouling, I think that obviously goes up, but he just can't. He just hasn't shown that he's able to play without fouling. So that being said, I'd have to take the under as much as it pains for me to say, but just understanding how important Steven Adams and Brandon Clark are to the team, I just can't see them going over that.
Lindo.
Did Jaren Jackson really foul out of a preseason game?
I didn't see.
I believe it was with 20 minutes.
I read that he fouled out of a preseason game.
And he's
That's
so
so funny.
He's so unconcerned about it. He's like, oh, I won't block as many shots if I foul less. It's like, what?
I'm taking the under, man. 25 games without Ja Morant.
That's a lot of games.
Let's assume Steven Adams was playing. 25 games without Ja Morant?
And now he's out.
I think they could have held it together.
Taylor?
It's under. You just have, like you put it, the perfect word is uncertainty. You have a team with, two of your best bigs out potentially for the season. One of them guaranteed for the season. The other one probably for the season. You don't have your best player, your star, for the first quarter of the season. Marcus Smart's a great addition. I don't know how much losing Dylan Brooks will hurt. Certainly a mainstay that was there. So it's part of the continuity conversation. Like, he's gone, but it's under just because like you have so many factors that are set in stone, like with your two bigs out, but then things changing part of the way into the season. So the over-under's what, 46.5?
Yeah.
I don't want to say they'll be in the 30s, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It's 44.5.
44.5, I'm still under.
Yeah, and that'd be a low number, but if they fall just short of that, I don't think that's a huge deal. Same number for the Timberwolves here.
All right, what's the answer, Nate?
I believe in Anthony Edwards. I like that they re-signed. Is it Jalen McDaniels or is Jaden McDaniels? Is Jalen? I like that they re-signed him. Jaden. I like that they re-signed him. He's a good player, very good defender. Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns they're not built like that. It's an under. Simple.
Ooh, they'd be bad if they fall under that. Linda?
Bobby, I think you put it together. They would be bad if they fell under that. And they will fall under that. They suck. Seriously, they suck.
Yeah, I'm going under here too.
Wow.
The Anthony Edwards conversation is like, he's awesome, right? He's awesome to watch. He's awesome. Like, his interviews are great. But this summer, off of like the preliminary World Cup games, people were talking about saying he looks like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, his game, like,
get that graphic. Put the graphic up with the half face.
And I'm all for like, wanting his ceiling to be up there, but he has to show. And granted, he's very early in his career, so I don't want to act like he's like this over, because he's not. But he has to show a little more, because like when the World Cup games mattered, the whole Team USA crumbled, and then like we just have to see more before we're getting to this like, oh, this guy looks like Jordan, like Michael Jordan, like come on, like if he reaches. If he takes another big leap this year and the trajectory is going up, no one's ever going to be Jordan. But then it's a little more like, okay, like if he's really cementing himself, but we have to see a little more. We have to see a little more when it really matters for me to fully believe that he can cover up for some of the shortcomings that are on this team. And, I don't like Rudy. I like Cat, but I think that it's a tough pairing with how today's NBA works, and you need to have like, I don't know, we've just seen Cat wither in so many big situations, and it's like after a while, yeah, he's still supremely talented basketball player, but after a while you can't like keep being like, oh well, he's you can't lean on him as a piece anymore. And so if Edwards is relatively unproven and Karl-Anthony Towns is proven that it doesn't work, then I don't have a ton of belief in them. I like watching them. I like them as a team, but I don't. I think I think they'll go under.
I like the talent here. I like them having another year together. I like Mike Conley a
course
lot,
you
who
do.
none of you guys mentioned. Good point guard for this group. Good coach. All your valid concerns are more playoff concerns, I think, than regular season ones. They'll go over. Let's go to
I'm watching
Bucks.
baseball.
53 and a half. 53 and a half window. They lost their top assistant. Chris Middleton missed most of camp somehow, some way. Lillard arrives, but Grayson Allen goes out, and they got to find another depth piece here to round out this top six. Maybe it's Bobby Portis, who was pretty good last year. Brook Lopez looked really good in the preseason again, by the way, though. I had some doubts about him last year, and he was practically the DPOY. I think Giannis is going to be incredible. I think he's your MVP, right, Lindo? Lillard, him and Giannis together in that pick and roll is going to be special. I think Middleton's health is a huge question, but it's more of a playoff question than a regular season one. The East kind of stinks, so I'm going over.
Nate, this is your boy, Damian Lillard. How's he gonna play?
Dame time, baby. I mean, the Bucks finally have a closer. Not to say that Chris Middleton wasn't a serviceable one, but they actually have a guy who we have seen hit some of the biggest shots over the course of a regular season and also in playoff history. I like the pairing of him and Giannis. I think that helps Giannis a lot. That gives the Bucks another player who could basically shoot from 30 feet. The other one being Brook Lopez. What was the number?
53 and a half.
I mean, over for sure. Like they're again, like you have two of the most transcendent talents that we've ever seen on a basketball court in Giannis and Damian Lillard. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch their games. Yeah, over for sure.
Taylor?
Under.
Oh,
just because of depth. This doesn't. When they get to the playoffs, I still think it's going to be. I still think you're going to be looking at Boston, Milwaukee, Miami as the three, just because they're proven. I don't even know if the Bucks would be that disappointed if they went under 53 and a half. So I think that this is much more of get to the playoffs in good shape in because they're pretty top heavy. And like you said, Bob, they do need another depth piece. I don't think their depth is as dire as it seems, because I still do like, and it's definitely a result of watching so many battles with the Celtics. I like pieces they have. I like Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton. I swear he doesn't miss shots against the Celtics. But I think that this season for them specifically is a lot more of let's get to the playoffs and then be healthy in the playoffs and be at our best in the playoffs. Because last year, I mean, they kind of pushed for the 1 seed and then it didn't work out. And I understand there was an injury in the first round to Giannis, but I also think it's a matter of like Giannis his greatness is at a level where it's like you know what you can expect from a healthy Giannis. So it's kind of like let's just get in there. If they can get one of the top 3 seeds, top 4 seeds, which I think they walk their way to any of those 4 seeds, they'll be fine in the playoffs. But I think they go under, and I don't think it's really that big of a deal that they go under.
Will they miss Holiday, Linda?
They have Damian Lillard.
I'm with
they
you.
miss Drew Holiday?
It does kill them though that he ended up on the Celtics. If I was a Bucks fan right now, I'd be like, "What the hell?" Your favorite,
Taylor? Does it change your mind at all that they won 58 games last year?
No, because it's not like it's tough because I feel like they didn't like push for the 1 seed. Like it wasn't some crazy heroic effort to get the 1. But I think that looking how last year went, especially considering how Middleton's health was so important, I think it's so much more important for them to get into the playoffs healthy and Damian Lillard's health. Like I know it sounds great to add him there, but he's also like the past couple of years has dealt with injury. So it really doesn't change that they won 58 last year because I think that they just need to make a concentrated effort to get there in one piece.
Fair enough. Someone's going to win those games in the East, though. You know who I don't think is going to win a lot of games this year? And it's not going to matter. The Heat, they have a pretty low number. Of course, I'm very scared picking under on this. But 44.5 for the Heat,
Under.
they got to prove themselves first.
You said 44 and a half?
Yeah, I'm going under.
Over. I mean, Eric Spoelstra is arguably the best coach in the NBA. There's been so many years where we have no clue who the roster is going to be, and they end
Cole
up somehow
Swider.
in the Eastern Conference Finals. I have
He's
to
gonna
go
make
like
Cole Swider a star.
anyway.
Dude, shut up.
We're anyway. They have Eric Spoelstra, they have Jimmy Butler, they have Bam Adebayo, they have Tyler Hero. Kevin Love also, like they just know how to make quality basketball players, quality role players, quality starters. That being said, I just don't see how we can take the under here, just understanding who they have been over the past 5 years.
Nate,
I do.
how can they be that adamant over 44 when last year they won 44?
They are the Miami Heat. We don't know how it happens. We just know that it's gonna happen.
But I'm just
They lost
saying
Strus
they
too,
won
though, and
44.
Vincent.
I just and like I just said, I have no clue, but I trust Eric Spoelstra. I trust Pat Riley. I trust Jimmy Butler.
Butler
I have
also
no
never
clue.
plays.
Yeah, I have no clue how they're gonna do it, but I just know they're gonna
I
do it.
feel you, Nate, but I'm not picking it. Taylor, you're going under?
Yeah, under. My worst enemy. Under.
They're going to do what they always do. Be awful all year and then figure it out once they sneak into the playoffs.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So 44.5, I think we're all under except Nate. Linda, I'll let you handle this one. Pelicans
Under.
44.5.
What did you say?
Pelicans 44.5.
Under. Oh my God, dude! Here's the real over under. Zion play 41 games. I'm going under. Okay, this team.
That's the end of them,
People
then.
make so much. People talk so much about the Hornets. They talk so much about the Rockets. Why don't they talk about the Pelicans, man? These guys are a disaster. And I'm still holding on though that Zion Williamson, if MVP was really most valuable player in the league, Zion Williamson is the MVP. Number one with him, almost out of the playoffs without him. They'll be without him again this season. I already saw them say, looks like he's in shape. They're doing the same thing like they do every year. Yeah, he does look in shape. And then he's going to be hurt in 20 games. But for those 20 games, man, I hope you're watching.
They already have some injuries, too. Murphy's going to miss a couple weeks or maybe a month. I think Alvarado's hurt. Nance is back, but he missed the training camp.
CJ's 1 year older.
Yeah, it's a good
And they
team.
don't have.
And like you
He's
said,
the point guard.
Linda, they were the one seed with everyone there, and then guys started dropping left and right. Of course, Taylor.
I'm going under. Just it feels a little like a house of cards, and when the house is standing, it's awesome, and when it's not, which it never really is, it's bad. So I'm going under.
Nate,
What's the number?
44.5.
Yeah, I can't trust Zion Williamson to play games. That being said, if somehow, some way, if Zion Williamson is able to play all 82,
Nope.
definitely over. But being that we probably live in a world where that's not going to happen, under.
I don't think Zion played 82 over the last 2 years.
I like the roster a lot, but guys are already hurt, and you're shooing in more injuries. I don't love it. I'm going under, and that's bad for them. Love this team, though, and we'll try to speed up real quick here as we route through the last handful of teams. Thunder, I'm going over. Love Chet. Love Shea. Jalen Williams is really good.
What's the number?
And
I don't even know the number.
44.5. Mason Wallace, too, a good draft pick.
Number could have been 20.
They're just going to keep packing up young guys, and their playoff success, I think they need a veteran.
Hang on. You skipped another team.
Who?
The Knicks.
You did skip the Knicks.
Real quick on the Knicks. I do like them. 45.5. Pretty much the same team. DiVincenzo's a good pickup, but I'm going over. I like them.
Over.
You said 45?
Next.
Yeah.
Over. Although Julius Randle needs to stop shooting mid-range jumpers and just get into the hole.
Look, regular season Julius Randle is a lock. Over.
All right, Oklahoma City, I'm over 44.5, just behind the Knicks. So FanDuel believes in the Thunder. I think if things break a certain way, this team could be fighting for a home court spot. I'm very high on them. I think Chet's going to change their defense, which was already pretty good. Really good coach. Shea's an MVP candidate. Over.
Huh?
I have no idea what the team looks like.
I like Shea, but MVP candidate is crazy.
Over.
If
That
you're
being
scoring
said,
30 points a game without shooting threes, you're an MVP candidate.
Bradley Beal scored like 36, and he wasn't even considered for MVP.
Interesting.
He shot a lot of threes.
What anyway? What's the number?
44.5.
44.5. Okay. Oklahoma City is finally going to be healthy. I like that they have 2 Jalen Williams. I like both of them. I like Shea. I like Josh Giddey. I like Lou Dort. I like the whole starting 5 is really good. This is probably going to be the year that they get into the playoffs, make a little bit of noise, and then get pow-powed by one of the bigger Western Conference contenders.
Taylor?
I'm going over because it's fun. And yeah, I mean, the coolest team in the league. You got 2 guys with the same exact name. Like,
J Will and J Dub, let's go.
That just shows how many picks this damn team has.
No, it's just it might be my favorite thing in the NBA that one team has 2 guys with the same name, like first and last name. That's it's unbelievable. So I'm going over.
Lindo?
Over.
I like them a lot. Orlando, my Magic.
Under.
37.5.
Under.
It will be over.
Under.
Paolo,
That's your favorite team too, right?
I love them. Paolo takes a step. Health, Jonathan Isaac is back. I don't know how long he'll stay healthy.
Under.
They might get half those games now that you said that. No, these guys only beat the Celtics, man. Like, that's it.
Taylor?
Under.
I'm going under. Lindo's right. They do only beat the Celtics, but I'm going under.
They're going to be very good.
From what I've seen, I like Paolo, but the best thing about that team is their throwback jerseys now. That's the best thing about their team.
Low-key didn't like their draft picks. I don't know how those guys are going to fit in.
Somebody wrote Bobby cheating on the refs. Yeah, Bobby's got like 8 teams.
Oh, geez.
Bobby's an NBA. Bobby's an NBA hoe. Real talk.
MUS 31. Is this Mike Muscala?
Mike Muscala on the Wizards. We're going to get to them in a minute. Suns, though. Great jerseys. Great team. I have playoff questions, but 51.5 for them is a pretty low number, even in a tough conference. I'm going to go over. I think if you have 3 stars, even guys missing nights, they're going to find a way to win some games. Booker's an MVP candidate. Durant is awesome. I hope no one falls into his legs this year because that's why he's gotten hurt the last couple of years. And you know what? Beal, for a third option, he is perfect. Nurkic, good regular season guy, too. I'm over.
Beal and KD don't play enough games for them to do that.
Nurkic also doesn't play that much.
Then Booker will play.
And you just told us Nurkic sucks. I don't even know where
playoff. I have playoff concerns about this team.
Okay.
But,
on paper, what's the number?
51.5.
51 on paper over. I don't trust KD to stay healthy. I don't trust Bradley Beal to be a second option. I do have a sneaky suspicion that Devin Booker is a really good playmaker, and I think that may unlock the offense. That being said, I think that them getting Nurkic is really important because they're able to replace Ayton for someone who is more fit for the role that they need filled. But at the same time, we've seen Portland Trailblazers seasons be ruined because Nurkic didn't play. So that being said, on paper over, but realistically under.
All right, Taylor.
I feel the same way. Like I think this is a team that could be a great regular season team, like super high scoring, great regular season team, and then it kind of doesn't work in the playoffs. But I do think that this has written all over it. Like, all right, we're gonna win a ton of regular season games, and then it might not translate to the playoffs. But I have another question. Did we skip Philly?
Nope, they are up now, and I'll let you lead them off. 47.5.
47.5. You're not going in alphabetical order. Phoenix does not come before Philadelphia.
Sorry.
We need Bobby to recite the alphabet on here real quick.
47.5. I think Tyrese Maxey turns into a star this year, and I still think they go under.
Nate, this is your team.
47.5.
Is this more?
Honestly, I will be watching a lot of Philadelphia 76ers games. I like their broadcast. They have a good broadcast. That being said, they make watching basketball fun. Honestly, just like a real aside, real quick. Like if your broadcast sucks, I'm not watching you. I don't care. That being said, that's why I don't watch the Wizards.
Drew Carter, Celtics, baby.
That being said, Joel Embiid, I hope plays like an MVP, and hopefully he can continue it into the playoffs, which we'll see. I do agree with Taylor about Tyrese Maxey. I think that he's a superstar in the making. They still have Tobias Harris. The James Harden thing is kind of iffy. He said that he's not going to play, and from what we've seen, it looks like he's not going to play. So that being said, Them losing Niang, I think, hurts them a little bit for the purposes of the regular season. But they also have the Anthony Melton, who's really good.
Mobamba.
Nick Nurse, they have Mobamba. Okay, so Mobamba is a solid backup. Nick Nurse seems to be running a system that is built on ball movement, which will also be helpful and allow Tobias Harris to touch the ball more, which will be helpful for them as well. So that being said, you said it was 47 wins?
Yep.
I'll take the over.
Lindo, you
Is
think
James
Harden's
Harden
going to play?
Exactly. Is he playing?
No.
You think he is?
I do think he is. Those unconfirmed things about Houston are unconfirmed, so I don't need to get into them. But let's assume that they're not, since we have no confirmation on that. He's got 3 games, like I said, and then he's going to realize, I can't just make $0 this year.
Oubre too.
I'm going to play. So Kelly Oubre sucks. Well, I don't even know what whoever posted that is sexually attracted to Kelly Oubre. That is it. You don't like watching him play basketball. There's no way. So 47 sounds about right. I'll go over on that. They won 54 last year. Harden's going to eventually play, but there's going to be some, I don't know, in that locker room. And James Harden isn't running for a Nick Nurse system. So no.
This Harden thing's going to get nasty. I'm going under just considering that 47.5. A little high if he's going to just sit out for a while here. And I think
he's
will.
not going to.
Portland, 27.5. Love Rob, love Brogdon, love their young guys, but they're going under. They're going to be bad.
Yeah. They're normally one of my when I lived on the East Coast, they were always my West Coast team that I would watch after the Celtics. I don't think I'm going to be watching a ton of them this year. But, hey, I wish Rob Williams the best. I wish Malcolm Brogdon the best, but I'm going under.
Nate?
Under for sure. I mean, this is a rebuilding year for them. Under.
Linda?
Over.
Okay, I like it.
Are you Lindo?
They are not a disaster. Okay, they did get some players.
Oh, you're pulling a me right now. You're calling them a fun team.
27 is a disaster. Okay, but a fun team can win 28 games. Okay,
so
the Rockets were a total
they're
disaster
gonna be in the
122. The Rockets were a total disaster in 122. You're saying with Ayton, with Jeremy Grant, with Brog, like they can't win 27?
Yeah,
yes, they can.
So you're saying that you're believing that dominating
Shaden
exists?
Sharp and who
Anthony
else?
Simons. I'm switching. I'm going over.
That's 27 games at least.
I'm going over.
You guys are bugging.
I'm going over.
Nate hopes they lose so he can say, "Look how valuable Dame was." No, they're getting over 27 wins.
I like for the record, I like Anthony Simons. I just worry about
some good players.
If DeAndre is going to be dominating.
He'll have to hold Rob off. Rob's coming for that spot. Kings 44.5. Number feels low. We got to see if they're for real off last year. But I like the roster. Love Sabonis. I'm going over. That offense is legit. It was the best in history, I think, statistically. And the coach is awesome. Coach of the year, Mike Brown. So 44.5 over.
Yeah, I'm going over just because I want the beam as many times as possible.
Keep fighting it, baby. Keegan Murray's really good too. Nate?
I'll go over for the Kings. I like De'Aaron Fox a lot. I like Sabonis a lot as well. I'd like to see them take a next step, and also I want to see them in the playoffs this year again because it looked crazy at Golden One Center last year.
Linda?
Fuck them. Under. Don't like that bum ass beam.
All right, final 4. Victor Wembanyama's Spurs 28.5. The roster's but man is he good. It's a tough one. But
Wembanyama's gonna have a great rookie season, but they're going under.
It's gonna be under.
What's the number?
28.5. It's a little high for them. Would they win last year?
Fuck it. Let me take a risk. I'll go over. I believe in Craig Popovich a lot.
They won 22 last year.
From what I've seen from Victor Wembanyama, he seems to be a really good player, even though I don't really care because he hasn't played a real NBA dribble yet. Vassell is really good as well. I can see them going. I can see them going over.
Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones, they have a few good guys, but man,
Zach Collins is all right too.
Linda, you're under, right?
If they win 28 games, give Pop an extension.
They already did.
Give him that. Yeah, give him another one. If they win 28 games, let's see it.
Give him that Billy B deal.
All right, final 3 here. Raptors, 36.5.
Under.
Sad face, tier, but they're going under. They're going to be
Pascal
bad.
Siakam going to be so disappointing. I can't wait.
They might move on from those guys too.
Who's their starting point guard?
Drake.
Dennis Schroeder.
For real?
Mm-hmm. The world champion.
I mean, I got to be honest. I don't really believe in that. OG Anunoby is the guy to carry a team, so I'm gonna have to go under.
Scotty Barnes. You gotta believe in him if you like this team.
His offense has gotten a little bit stale last season. It didn't take the jump that I expected it to. Maybe it takes the jump this year, but under.
Taylor. We're forgetting though. They went out and drafted Grady Dick.
Going back to baseball.
Under.
Dude, you got some. We're gonna have to discuss some mental health.
You just wanted to say Dick on the podcast.
He's gonna be really good.
There's something so strong with.
Hold on. We're gonna skip this team just to get this one out of the way. Wizards, say it with me. 1, 2, 3. Under.
Jordan Poole, empty bucket getter. Oh, my fault. Under.
Whoa, you Jordan Poole believer. Now they're under.
Who?
Me?
Oh, I'm about to say.
No, I know like Poole.
I'm a Jordan Poole believer, and I still think they're going under.
24.5 is the number, by the way.
I like Daniel Gafford, though. He's solid.
Gallinari, anyone?
Who?
No, but that's a great quote. We might have to put that as a pin text.
Yeah, they're going under. They're going to stink. Last one. We made it. Jazz, 35.5. This might actually be the hardest one. They were amazing to start last year. They still have some interesting guys, and their coach is very good, and they're going to try to win. Danny went out, try to get Porzingis, try to get Drew Holiday. I think they try to get someone else too, John Collins, who they actually got. It's tough to piece this roster together, and I really do think having Mike Conley helped them last year, and they don't have him now. But Talen Horton-Tucker was pretty good for them. Their rookies are apparently pretty good. Hendricks and Keontae George. Their center's amazing. Can't think of his name off the top of my head, Taylor. Kessler. I don't want to bet against Will Hardy because I love him to death, but they're young. They really stunk to close last year. Markkanen, we got to see if he can repeat it. I hate to go under here, but I do have to see it, as you said earlier, Taylor. 35.5. I got to go under in a tough conference.
What was the Minnesota? Okay, I'm gonna do something different. The Utah Jazz are going to have more wins than the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's what I'll say.
No, they're not.
Yes, they will.
It's gonna be big problems if that happens.
Yes, they will.
There's big problems now.
Yeah.
You guys are just such haters.
Bobby, no, we're not. We watched the team and they suck. Let me ask you this: do you think that the Jazz would make the play-in this year?
No, I don't think there's enough playoff spots.
The Jazz might be the biggest who cares team of this season.
Really? I think they're interesting.
The Pistons exist.
Yeah.
No, but the Pistons have Jaden Ivey with Kate Cunningham coming back and Thompson and Monty Williams.
Yeah, no, the who cares team's the Wizards. Let's be real.
Okay.
Wait, there's no way you think I don't know your feelings on the Jazz, man. They're the who cares team. You made it sound like they can't be interesting and who cares.
No,
I interesting. Then someone cares.
Taylor said they're who cares.
Oh, okay. Because
to me, the Jazz, I'm gonna go under, and they are the biggest who cares team to me in the NBA this year.
I like them a lot. I like their young guys.
I don't really plan on watching a single dribble of Wizards basketball, if I'm being honest.
I'll watch 2 Jazz games, and that's when they play with Celtics.
Nate, if they're better than the Wolves, they're gonna be building the Will Hardy statue already. Lindo?
The Wolves are such a low bar. I hope you understand that.
They suck. Does interesting mean fun to you?
Yes, they're a fun team.
I'm going over. I don't know what you see. They were supposed to tank last year and almost made the play-in. I don't know how they get worse now.
Timberwolves last year 42 wins. The Jazz had 37.
Yeah, they can catch up.
I don't know how they get worse. But the Timberwolves will.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert is just gonna stand in the lane and beg for the ball. 35. And then when he finally gets it, he's gonna airball 3 times.
Reggie Jackson.
35. I'm telling you guys, I'm very scared to pick under here because Hardy's great. And 35.5 is not a lot of wins, but I don't know. They're young. They don't have Conley. I just gotta lean that direction, and we have made it. The NBA starts tomorrow. Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, Warriors. I can't wait. I'll be in New York Wednesday for Celtics Knicks, which is on ESPN. And these guys will be joining me throughout to talk about it all. Lindo, Nate, Taylor, thanks for doing it tonight.
Syracuse, baby, Thursday. They go.
I haven't decided if basketball is a real sport tomorrow.